Hey guys, Jessica Vega here. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today we're gonna talk about the truth about pregnancy. Now don't be afraid, this isn't gonna be TMI, promise. I'm past the 6-month mark now, and here are some of the myths that I've found. The first myth, the one thing you know, regardless of if you've ever been pregnant or not, is that it takes 9 months to create this baby. Wrong. It's totally 10 months, 40 weeks. You do the math. And let me tell you, those last 4 weeks really matter, especially because that's when you're the biggest, and I heard it's the hardest. Myth number 2, morning sickness. They should really call that all-day sickness. I was sick from the moment I opened my eyes in the morning to the time I closed them at night. Nausea, dizziness, heartburn, feeling like I was gonna puke. Tired all day long. It was the pits. For some people, it's not even just that first trimester, which is a third of your pregnancy over 3 months. For some people, it lasts longer, like it did for me. I couldn't stand the sight of food. I hated how I felt every day. I felt so unproductive and so lazy. And for some people, that lasts their entire pregnancy. I have mad respect for those women. And the third myth is that whole eating for 2. Now, everybody says that to you. Have another brownie. Eat the whole pizza. You're eating for 2 now, right? Wrong. Actually, totally wrong. My first trimester, I really didn't have an appetite at all, which is super strange for me because I normally have a really hearty appetite. But that's okay if that's the case. My doctor said as long as I was having my prenatal vitamins and keeping down whatever I could, then I was all right. For me, that looked a little bit like eating a lot of goldfish, lots of Go-Gurts, some SpaghettiOs, maybe some mac and cheese. Okay, I didn't have the best diet, but I was able to keep down some stuff, and I felt pretty proud of it. The truth is, in that first trimester, you don't actually need any additional calories in your diet per day than what you were already getting before. Second trimester is a little bit different of a story. You need an extra 300 calories per day. But 300 calories really isn't all that much. It could be like a bowl of oatmeal or cereal or a couple of yogurts. It's really not that much in addition to your normal diet. In your third trimester, when you're the biggest, you still only need an additional 500 calories in your diet a day. That's like a hamburger. So don't let anybody pressure you that you're not eating enough and that you have to engorge yourself with food. Honestly, if I eat too much, I just feel worse. So far in the 6 months of my pregnancy, I definitely have not felt more hungry than normal, just hungry more often. Like I need to eat little bits all the time in order to not feel heartburn. Now let's talk about the things that no one ever told me about pregnancy. Maybe they never told me because after you hold the baby, you forget all of the terrible things you experienced. Or maybe it's from pregnancy brain, which is a real thing, and you really do just forget stuff. I actually think that the reason no one shares these things is because they don't want to be that girl complaining all the time about how tough it is to be pregnant. But I'm here today to tell the truth, and that's what I'm gonna do. Since I've been pregnant, it's like I've instantly aged 10 years. I went from feeling healthy in my 20s to kind of feeling like an old woman now. I have sciatic back nerve pain that kills me every day, and it hasn't gone away. It shoots down my leg and even makes my hands tingly sometimes. They say it's from the pressure of the baby pushing up against that nerve. Maybe that's the case, but it doesn't seem like I'm gonna grow out of it. During pregnancy, everything seems harder. Breathing, granted, my lungs are now sharing space with another human. Sometimes going upstairs, normal things, exercising, hiking, things that I'm used to. Now, all of those things, it's a lot harder to do because it's so much harder to breathe. Standing up seems like a normal thing everyone has to do, right? Well, that's gotten a little trickier since I've been pregnant. What do you mean? When I stand up, I have to be careful not to do it too quickly or I'll get dizzy and feel like I have to hold on to something so I don't fall over. Along with all the other joint pains I have, it's also tough to stand up because I drink a lot of water throughout the day, more than a gallon. So when I stand up, instantly pressure goes to my bladder and I feel like I have to pee. Like, find a bathroom, I've got to go right now. That kind of pee. So funny. I also don't think I was prepared for the amount of heartburn I would have. It's not just from eating too late or eating spicy food, it can even be from eating no food at all. That indigestion is no joke. I've also been so surprised how quickly my maternal instincts have come on. For example, now when I'm out in public, I know I'm more irritable, but when I see a child acting up, I want to like spank strangers' children and tell them what to do. Not normal. Pregnancy's also led to all kinds of awkward moments. For example, the baby moving and kicking is one of the coolest things ever. Initially, it felt just like butterflies in my tummy and no one else could really feel it. But now those kicks and punches are really strong and other people can feel it. But sometimes I'll be talking, having a normal conversation like, that's so crazy, and then God was doing this amazing thing and I could feel it. And then, like I was saying, anyway, it's like he's kicking or punching organs and it takes my breath away, but no one else can feel it. It's kind of like when your stomach growls really, really loud and you're sure everyone in the room can hear it, but nope. Just you. So awkward sometimes. I've also had lots of awkward moments where people aren't quite sure if I am or am not pregnant. This poor, sweet, over 80-year-old woman in the grocery store was arguing with her younger granddaughter about whether or not she should congratulate me. All the while I could hear them, and it was really uncomfortable. Something else I didn't know about pregnancy was the heightened senses. Now that sounded cool to me, like spidey senses. Not so cool. The heightened senses I've experienced the most are a heightened sense of sound and smell. Now, smell was really not in my favor, especially during that first trimester of morning sickness. I could smell everything more than usual, so if I went to a restaurant that cooked all kinds of different food, it overwhelmed me and made me sick. I couldn't cook, not to mention, if somebody at church was trying to have a conversation with me and their breath was kicking, I could smell it from a mile away. Now, the heightened sense of sound sounds kind of cool, like, oh, like you could hear people whispering in the other room. Not so much. More like I feel like an old woman. If we go out to eat somewhere and there's live music, I feel like everyone's having to scream to hear each other. Or I'm already naturally pretty sensitive about people's mouth sounds, like chewing, smacking gum, that sort of thing. And now that I'm pregnant, that is out of control. It feels like people are literally chewing in my ear. You also deal with heightened hormones. As if being a girl isn't emo enough sometimes with all of our highs and lows of emotions, now you've got more hormones pumping through your veins. Sometimes I feel like a preteen boy going through puberty, raging. My moods can swing all over the place, from one moment feeling like, gosh, it's so noisy in here, I wish I could just be alone, to the very next moment being like, where is everyone? I'm so lonely. God bless my husband, my friends, and my family for putting up with me and all of us other pregnant ladies out there. And last but not least, I was forewarned on this one, but really didn't understand to what extent this extreme would be. Bring on the judgment. People are so opinionated when you're pregnant. It's like you go from being your own able-bodied adult making your own decisions about where you live and what you wear and what you eat and what you buy to all of a sudden strangers, people you've known your whole life, people you barely know at all feeling like they have the right to chime in on your life. Now, fortunately, it doesn't bother me all that much. I find it kind of humorous, but people should be careful imposing their thoughts on women at a time where they're so sensitive already. People even are opinionated about your body. Not only do they touch your body, but they'll tell you whether they think you're too big or too small. It's crazy the amount of pressures that are put on people. Not to mention, naming a human is a huge job. And if you don't feel that pressure already, people will tell you what they think about the names you've chosen, whether they like them or not. No pressure. All in all, I say all of this to you today not to complain, but because I really do believe that this is a journey that is worth documenting. The whole thing, front to back, beginning to end, really is a beautiful process. Yes, pregnancy is such hard work. I am not discrediting it by any means, but honestly, hard work produces the best results. What have you ever done in your life that you haven't had to work super hard for that has really come out the way that you wanted it to? In my life, at least, the things I've had to work the hardest for have always been the things I've been most proud of in the end. And sometimes I look at the day and go, oh my gosh, there's just never enough time in the day. I feel like I didn't get anything done today. And I just have to sit back and remember, even if nothing got checked off my to-do list, I was productive because I was producing a human. You know, no big deal. All of this is out of our control. I know the statement that it's out of our control can really alarm those OCD type A personalities, but don't let it. It's such an experience with God where you really realize that every single part of pregnancy is from Him. From the initial first moments all the way through the end, He's there in it. He's the only one who could have ever made such a complex, creative thing possible. They say the worst is still yet to come for me as I near the end of my pregnancy, and then the baby actually comes, the real work starts. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge because I really think it's gonna be so worth it. You've been on this journey with me and I need your help. Our baby boy still doesn't have a solidified name, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Who knows, maybe you'll help us come up with our baby's first name or even middle name. I hope you enjoyed today. Thanks so much for joining me, and until next Saturday, I hope you have the best days yet. Bye!